figure state plan, that was the escape plan, but ain't investigating. That shit was a waste.
Love you guys. Have a great day.
Facing, cause shit just started racing, but wait, it open gates and it should just stop raining. Oh, like we out the basement on one floor.
En stel je voor, hè, je hebt gewoon een ton, 1000. Als 1% converteert, zijn 1000 verkopen.
Ja.
Toch?
Ja.
Maar niet 1% converteert, minder.
Ja,
Huh?
nou, we zijn 1% kan converteren. Ligt eraan hoe goed die e-mail is.
Alright, so currently on our way to drop this guy off because he's going home, I'm going home, and yeah, I think yesterday was a good day, right?
Yeah,
It was a good trip.
Proud of you.
Proud of me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we had a nice cabin in the like a woods kind of a garden-ish.
Yeah.
It was a nice place to chill at and rewind, reset, and everything. Alright, guys. So there's this thing, which is really a life hack when you're working on a computer all day and online and remotely. You could go to cafes and such, but it's always like a risk. It's like a, I don't know, 50% chance that you have good internet or not. Why are you listening to 50 Cent? Anyways, but here's the life hack, short set. If you go to these luxury hotels, they always have good seating, luxurious place, good coffee, everything you need, silence, good internet, and you know, you just feel like you're actually working on something useful, because sometimes in a cafe it looks like cracky, you know, like it just, I don't know. Anyways, I like to go to luxury hotels nowadays because, well, I mean, the coffee is the same price as anywhere else, so there's no like excuse not to go to there instead of going to a local cafe. Je gaat zien?
Ja man bro, in Azië dan hè, misschien of eerder.
Thailand, ja.
God knows bro.
God knows.
Be safe.
Be safe, bro.
We bellen sowieso bro.
Bro,
Thanks,
Thailand
man.
denk ik, man.
Ja toch?
Wees daar, bro.
Ik ben sowieso
Wees
daar
daar.
man bro. We gaan hem vandaag scalen. We gaan naar 2000 en zo belletje geven.
Welcome, brother. How are you? So I have only one thing on my schedule today, which I already spoke to Azam about, and it's easy for you to just use that B-roll. It's very important that we don't use the same B-rolls over and over again, because otherwise it just it gets boring and people are like, alright, that's all you got. So it's much faster to import and export those type of stuff, because the processing happens in the SSD and not in the HDD. Guys, the way you stepped up this month, it's crazy. Like compared to last month, you know, when I was a bit disappointed in not just the quantity, but also like, yeah, the quality is not that much with the quantity. Like, but this month you guys really stepped up, man. Like amazing, a lot of quantity as well, not just quantity but also quality. I'm gonna get out of the meeting, go home, do some stretching, and I have a kickbox training tonight. Love you guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Zo. Oh, dit? Welkom bij een nieuwe vlog. Heet ze even welkom, man.
Ja, welkom.
Welkom.
Welkom back.
Take me out. Figure state plan, that was the escape plan, but ain't investigating. That shit was a waste, man, but wait, I stopped the facing, cause shit just started racing, but wait, it opened gates, and it should just stop raining. Oh, like we out the basement, on one floor where it's vacant. She feeling anxious to be out where it's dangerous, so get up out of chains, it especially how I bang it. Get your niggas thing, but she mixed up in the language, I bet niggas dying for that chain around my neck, that's like alert. I be trying not to go back in my ways.
So if there's one thing that I've really missed is cruising through the coast of, the city, Vlissingen and Zeeland in general. It's unbelievable. I sometimes forget how nice it is to do so. Where are we going, my man? Where are we going?
Onward.
Onwards and on. Now guys, I could pretend that I've been working very hard in the past few days, but the honest truth is that I've been taking things a bit slower, less working, more reflecting, I would say. And you know, it's these 2 weeks that I'm more with family and friends, because I know the period that's coming next month and the month after, it's going to be a lot of grind work. So mentally preparing for that is a good thing as well. Also, a lot of our team members are on holiday. It's summer. Everyone is taking a thing or two slower as well. And yeah, so am I at the moment. Just enjoying the scenery. It's been a while since I've been here in my hometown, and I forgot how nice it was as well. So I'm realizing that, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm gone from this small city. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice place to be, but if you have more ambitions, if you want to grow further, sometimes or usually a small city is holding you back instead of actually pushing you forward. But yeah, it's nice to visit from time to time, of course. Now, when I'm done with this bike ride, I am going home, getting my stuff, getting my suitcase, and then driving to Rotterdam. I'll be staying there with one of my friends, and tomorrow we are planning to go to a Dutch festival, which is also something you need to experience if you're in the Netherlands, because I mean that's what Holland is known for, right? The drugs, the festivals, the parties, and all those type of stuff. So yeah, just going to the festival. Don't do drugs, kids, and just having a good time, chilling, relaxing, because in a few days I'll be flying back to the cave, and well, that's when you have to make the mind shift and switch back to grind mode. But I'm all ready for that. So the thing is, when you usually leave your hometown or small place where you come from and you start traveling the world and you start being and living somewhere else and coming back to the place, it usually or sometimes feels like nothing has changed and the time has stood still in the city that you're from. It only feels like that because you have changed so much. The fact is, everyone in the city has changed and has grown. It's just because they are grown in a such smaller pace that it looks like they stood still. But the fact is, you just grew too fast. And then when you come back and you see, I don't know, old people from your hometown kind of doing the same thing, going to the same gym, I don't know, eating at the same places and so on, it might feel like nothing has changed. But yeah, it's interesting that you grow much faster when you, I would say, take more risk. And especially if you start taking risk abroad, it's just another game to it. You start changing very fast because you get to know yourself way faster and way better. I've spoken to people that are like 19 years old, 20 years old, that have traveled, that when I speak to them, they feel much more mature than someone who's, let's say, 25 years old or even 30 years old, but hasn't traveled and has always stayed at the same spot. The personality of the 18-year-old that has traveled, you know, that person knows himself better than, I would say, the guy that's 25 or 30 that hasn't gone on this discovery path to find himself or to look who he really is, what he really enjoys, and what he really appreciates and what he doesn't appreciate. So something else that I have conversations about with some people when we're talking about doing things you like, and you know, people usually have a hard time working with that question, like what do I like? Because there's so much to do, obviously, I get it, but the fastest way to find out what you do like is to know what you don't like. If you know what you don't like, which is usually much easier to put in words for yourself, what you don't like, once you know what you don't like, you can kind of re-engineer and see what's the opposite of the thing you don't like. Because usually that's the thing you like. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but if you don't like, let's say you don't know what you want, but you know for sure that you don't want to work a 9-to-5 job, right? Or you don't want to work in a location, fixed location every day, every week, every year. Now, because you don't like that, it automatically tells you that you like to be free. You like to be working from different places, different times, different time zones maybe. So yeah, it's an easier way because it's not the same question, but it leads you to the same goal or the same end. All right, so this used to be my elementary school when I was a small little boy. I've driven this path like a million times when I was young, cycling home. as I'm driving here in my final hours in the Netherlands in a freaking traffic jam on my way to Rotterdam and then The Hague, I'm kind of reflecting on my trip here, and I was thinking, I don't know, let me share a moment here, because what I was thinking about is how much a location affects you in terms of character, your energy, your motivation, and so on and so on. I realized that each country has its own vibe / energy to it, whereas it changes you with it. Like some countries I'm way more relaxed, I'm way more easygoing. I had this a lot in Bali, for example. I don't know, I was like almost became a hippie. And then some places like Dubai, it kind of gives you this rush, like as if like you wake up already fired up, not even needing a coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the vibe that country gives you. And for me, the Netherlands has always given me this vibe of comfort. Like it's fine, stay doing whatever you do. Don't go harder than you need to, and it's just this vibe. And I've realized that how strong that vibe was. Now I'm back for 2 weeks and trying it out again and realizing things. Anyways, location does a lot to you guys. I've realized that over the years. Doesn't matter which country I go, each place has its own energy, has its own rhythm, frequency, whatever you call it, and you never get into it in, I would say, a week or two. It always takes a bit longer. Now, Netherlands is a bit of a, unique case, because for me it's very easy to get into it. I've been living here for over 20 years, so that's not hard. But yeah, some places when you go, like the first 2 weeks, you're still, you're kind of melting in the frequency wherever you came from. But after a month or so, you feel like you're in that frequency of the city. Or the country, like it's not entire countries, because some cities, they have also different frequencies and different energies. So yeah, you realize it when you become aware of it, I guess. And for me, this trip made me very aware of it, to be honest. And by the way, I don't think I'm the only one feeling this, to be honest, because all the online entrepreneurs that I know or been following or been respecting here in the Netherlands, they've kind of all left the country. And I've heard them say the same thing as well. So it's kind of a mutual thing everybody agrees on. I mean, the Netherlands is actually realizing that as well, because now they have this exit tax or something. Yeah, exit tax. I don't know what you exactly call it. Anyways, before you could just leave the country, migrate to another country, and then you don't become a tax citizen of the Netherlands anymore. But because lately in the past, I would say 4 years, so many people, so many entrepreneurs have been leaving this country because it's just not interesting to have a company here, to be honest, because you just get taxed overly much. Like, I don't mind paying taxes, but there's a limit to it when it's fun and not fun anymore. And the Netherlands has made it such a way for entrepreneurs to not make it fun, to make your bread here, basically. So a lot of people are leaving this place, and the Netherlands is seeing that and like, shit. So now they're kind of putting or trying to push this new rule through, that if you leave the country, you still have to pay taxes for another 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know. It depends on what the rule becomes, but they're kind of negotiating it right now. I mean, everyone is kind of fleeing to these tax havens. That could be Dubai. Some are going to Portugal. I've seen Japan constructions happening as well that are becoming popular. Malta has been there for a long time. But mostly I see what people do is they go to Dubai or the Middle East, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting to see. And I feel like Europe in general is losing its wealthy people. And it's not the Netherlands and not just Europe, by the way. Like, you saw, I recently saw an article, the most migrated wealthy Americans this year went to Dubai, which is crazy. And UK is also seeing a lot of people just leaving the country simply because, well, I don't know, they just don't find it attractive anymore, I guess, like me, to be in that country.
You running around drinking liquor, taking pictures cause you miss me. I know you miss me. You running around drinking liquor, fucking niggas cause you miss me. You just want attention. You can sleep with half the world, Bet you still won't forget me.